Welcome to This Week in Anderson High School Sports here on ESP Media, powered by Sidearm Sports. I'm Jason Griefer. We're joined, as always, by Anderson AD Chris Newton and Assistant AD Zach McCormick. Gentlemen, good to have you back here. And Zach, welcome back from your reprieve last week. I guess you're feeling better now that the Bengals decided to win a game.
You know it. Joe Burrow cures everything.
And the offensive line showed up, Newt. How about it?
I'm a big fan of that. How about that?
Yeah, it's about time. We've been looking for it for the last 20 games, but we'll talk about that another time. Let's talk about your teams because they've got a lot of positive mojo going for them. Clearly, the Bengals are following in your direction. Let's start off with let's start on the pitch with boys soccer and a huge game this coming week with Loveland. You're right there near the top of the standings. They're nipping at your heels. Of course, you'll each get a turn at Walnut Hills, who still remains unbeaten. And but both teams coming on a roll. You won your last three by a combined 15-1 score. They're coming off of a blowout 4-0 win over Moeller last week, and everybody knows how good Moeller's been seemingly for forever in Cincinnati. So obviously a big game. There's still time left, but this could very well decide who wins the league title. How much more juice do the players get when they know that this game is on the schedule and knowing how good both these teams are?
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing that you have to learn as a kid and you have to learn as a coach to try to, you always, every time you take the field, I mean, it's the most important game of your life, but you want to make sure you amp it up a little bit more, but you can't blow it up any bigger than it is. And, for example, when we play Bartels Road, that game is big enough as it is. You don't need to make it any bigger because the bigger you make it, the more stress and the more pressure a kid puts on himself to perform.
Sure.
And some kids, quite honestly, don't perform very well under pressure. So you want to keep things as normal as can be, but with understanding, hey, we gotta, there are certain times we gotta step on the gas. And Sam does a great job with all that because Sam talks to our kids about all season long. We take one game at a time, but he also, when I hear him talk, he sets things up for them. And so they've known that this game is coming without a doubt. So I'm excited because I think we're going to play very well. And I think that Sam and Mike, our assistant coach, handle those kind of types of things very well. So they'll know tomorrow night is the time where the gas pedal has to be pushed down a little bit more than maybe what's been done in the past.
Zach, how do you think the players have embraced that balance of, yes, we're focused on match to match, play who's in front of us, but also receiving that message from the coaches that that we do have a bigger picture in mind, we do have grander plans in mind?
Yeah, I think they embrace that. I mean, full-heartedly. I mean, really, they buy into it because to reach that main goal that you have at the end of the season, you have to take it day by day and get better every single day. And I think they do a great job of that. I mean, they're locked in. They practice hard. I mean, it's so fun, especially when you have a coach like Sam and Isaiah and Coach Lemons. I mean, Saturday morning I get here to do some of our girls' soccer game at 8 o'clock, and Sam and our boys' soccer team, Sam's out there playing with the boys, sitting in a corner. I tried to get it on video, but I was a little late there. But it's just so fun to see how they put in the work every single day and how attentive and locked in they are every single day. And I know they're more locked in this week, just, I mean, knowing how big this is. But everything that they do is a product of what they've done the entire year and how they given in to what Sam puts out there for them. So I'm excited, and I know our guys are going to be ready as they have been pretty much all year. So I'm excited to see that tomorrow.
Jace, I'll say this. I don't know who to give more credit to, our coaches in that our kids believe in them or our kids for believing in the coaches. It's a perfect situation where, our coach says something and sometimes a coach will say something and kids, like when I was a coach and I'd say something, nobody ever believed me. But when when Sam says something, he's got that credibility, and the kids believe him and they buy into it. So it's a perfect situation there. And you know what? We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow night, obviously, but I know this: our kids will be ready and they'll play and they'll be excited, and we'll see what happens.
Zach, I'm going to put you on the spot here, knowing that your boss is also on this interview here. Do you believe a word he says right now?
Always.
Why not take a shot at it? Let's let's move over to the girls' side. Zach, I'll start with you. We've talked about how good this team has been defensively. Hadn't allowed a goal in the month of September until this past weekend, and a surprising 2-2 draw against West Claremont. And I think it probably caught a lot of people by surprise. Maybe nobody more so than the team itself. But now you get Winton Woods on Tuesday, and this is an unbelievable story at Winton Woods. And I say that because they've not won a match this season. And you look at the league standings, their keeper in 10 matches has had to make 259 saves. She's saving nearly 26 shots per match on top of the ones that get by her. So knowing that you're going into a match like this where you're going to seemingly get shots on goal at will, how do the coaches go about that, knowing that this is so atypical of what they see on a nightly basis?
Yeah, I mean, I think they do what they can or what they've done all year, and that's try and get better every single day. I mean, no matter who we go out there and play, we're focused on ourselves, and that's something that they do a great job at, is really focus on trying to get better ourselves and take care and control what we can control. And that's what Andy and Ron Matty and all those coaches do a great job of. And I mean, Winton Woods, I mean, they got some players, and it's going to be an interesting game. It'll be fun, but I mean, we're just glad that we get to go out there and play. Our kids will be ready, and our coaches continue to put that kind of mindset in those kids' heads. So it'll be excited, and they're going to go out there and try and get better, just like they do every single day. So it'll be a fun one to watch too.
Newt, with the tie now, you're sitting at 4-0-2 in the league. Loveland is at 5-0-1, so you're right behind them again. You're both unbeaten, but now Loveland has moved ahead. We're late in the season. The Loveland match is coming next week, and we'll talk about that next week. But any sense now that maybe we'll see a little bit of scoreboard watching to see if maybe Loveland either draws this week or maybe gets knocked off ahead of your match with them next week?
Yeah, no, I don't think Andy's really good about, let's handle what we can do, and we still control our own destiny.
Mm-hmm.
That tie, and it was an interesting game. It was a rain delay, and we came out, we played very well in the first half, and you've got to give West Claremont a ton of credit because they kind of took it to us in the second half, and I really credit those girls for coming out there and playing like that. And then our girls, for battling back but when they walked off that field, they obviously were disappointed.
Yep.
But Andy did a good job of making sure they understand that they still control everything. We go out and we take care of business tonight, and then we take care of business against Loveland, then things are okay still. But I think, that's just the important thing. Control what you can control. And so scoreboard watching, there's no point in doing that, because if we take care of business, we'll do that. I will say this. My daughter told me that young lady, that goalie at Winton Woods, is phenomenal.
Yep.
She did say, when I was talking to her, they snuck some in. But she said that young lady at Winton Woods, she actually went up to her after the game and told her it's one of the, what a great game she played. And so, they're giving up some goals, but you still got to get one by her. And she's hot. You never know.
Yeah, you really don't. Again, you look at the numbers, and it's just off the charts. 26 saves per match.
Yeah.
So obviously there's some talent there. You got to stop some of them. So we'll see what happens there. Let's move on. Let's talk about your volleyball team. And rough stretch continues, and things have not gone their way. And now it is a jam-packed week this week. You've got 4 matches coming up this week, starting with West Claremont today. You got Walnut Hills, Loveland, Lakota East. They're always good out of the GMC. you know, things aren't going their way, and now they've got 4 games in, basically a 5-day stretch here. How much of a challenge is that for Coach Olson to not only balance the fact that things aren't going well, but now you don't have time to think about the fact that things aren't necessarily going your way right now, because as soon as you get one match done, bam, here comes another one.
Yeah, and that's the great part of coaching sports, is the fact that you can't, you get maybe like 8 hours to celebrate victory, or 8 hours to suffer defeat, but you got to get going. That's why I loved coaching baseball so much, because I'm not big on celebrating, but I was really big on getting down. And I finally learned you can't do either. You got to hang right smack dab there in the middle, and you got to go. And so for our young ladies, Coach Olson, she does a very good job of keeping them in the moment. And, we've got a game Monday, we got a game Tuesday, we got a game Thursday, and we got a game Saturday. Our expectations are that we can win every single one. But we don't want to celebrate after tonight. If we beat West Claremont, we don't want to celebrate so much that we aren't ready to go for tomorrow, versus Walnut Hills. And the same thing, if we don't win tonight, you don't want to get too down. You just got to be able to take each game, and on that bus ride home tonight, hopefully we're celebrating. But when they wake up tomorrow morning, they forgot about that and they're focused on Walnut Hills. So that's one of the good things about playing back to back to back to back, is you don't have that opportunity to get lost in whatever happened. You got to focus on what's ahead.
Is that your thought too, Zach? I mean, you're a longtime player, former athlete yourself, and you played a lot of games, 2 and 3 days or back-to-backs. Did you go through that as a player yourself, when things aren't going well, but you have a lot of games in a row that you don't have time to focus on the negative? You just have to keep going?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it's a blessing and a curse. I mean, I know Coach Olson and everybody, they pride themselves on outworking a lot of people and being able to prepare for their next opponent and do all that. But also, you have to have such a short mind and a quick turnaround. So just to have the opportunity to know that once this game's over, that you got another one tomorrow. I mean, as a player, you just have to love that. I mean, you work so hard to play in the games and shine in the games, and to be able to play so many games back to back to back is really awesome. And it's something that's awesome for the kids, but they're going to have to battle through and continue to take care of their bodies and do little things that you don't always think about off the court to make sure that they're ready to perform at the highest level that they can on the court. I think they'll be ready, and I think it's a good thing that we'll be able to have so many games in such a short period of time.
Cross country got back to work over the weekend at the
Yeah.
St. X Invite, and we saw some of the highlights on Twitter, thanks to outstanding camera work.
Can you believe that?
But it was also under perfect running conditions as well. You couldn't ask for much more if you were runners out there. How did that extra week of training benefit them in that particular meet there, and how are they feeling going into this coming weekend?
Yeah, the training, they benefited a ton from extra training, with that, without having a meet in there. But you can't prepare for each individual course. I got to tell you what, St. X, that was an awesome day out there. St. X, the Invitational. Kudos to those guys out there. They ran a first class event, but there's a lot of hills, and it's hard to prepare. It's hard to prepare kids for that.
Yeah.
And Carrie Lee and Andy Wolf do a great job of it, but there's no substitute when you step on that course. So it was a very difficult course. But the kids ran well. Ian Loudon, again, he just keeps getting better and better and better. And Sam Mizukawa, they ran very well. And the ladies, Audrey Baker and Trudy Schellenberger, really stepped it up. And one of the neat things is the performance that kind of the kids that are coming up into the program, that they are getting better and better. And that was a really neat one to see Saturday, because we got to run so many kids. We ran 30 boys and 20 girls, and our kids that are like the 20 through the 30. so many of them improve their times. And that's awesome to see because, it's easy to coach. It's easy to coach the top 5 kids, but you really find out about your program and more importantly about your coaching staff when your kids that aren't your stars, when they're improving a ton. So I'm just so proud of Carrie Lee and Andy Wolf. They coach every single kid every single day. And to see that the performance of our kids getting better and better is awesome. It's just flat out awesome.
Did you walk those hills or did you pull a Zach McCormick and hop on the cart?
No, sir. I if you listen to my my videos, I was up in the newly purchased AHS Athletic Boosters blimp up there, and I had a high view, and I'm telling you, Jace, it was flat out awesome. I didn't move a step, and I could see them 4 separate times. It was awesome.
Well, there we go. See, I mean, at least if you're work smarter, not harder.
Finally.
let's talk about golf, and we'll find out here if Zach plans to walk or get on the cart this coming week, because the postseason's here. You've got the sectionals coming up, and this coming week, and both teams making their final preparations. Where are they at as far as the games fine tune their games? I know we've talked about that the last couple of weeks and trying to shore up the little things here and there to get yourselves ready for this postseason, to get into the sectionals and hopefully move on and through the district. Zach, where do you think the teams are at right now?
I think they're in a good spot. I mean, this is what what I said earlier is this is what you prepare the whole off season for. I mean, since last year, this is what they've been training for. I mean, they want to go in and they want to perform well at the end of the season. And especially for our boys, the sectionals are out there on Wednesday at the Grizzly, and we're able to have a try match there today, which I think is absolutely huge because the kids get to go out, and we've played that course a few times already this year, and then we get to go out and play it again today before Wednesday to kind of see the conditions and get out there and play. So it's nice to have that. And then for the girls, I mean, it's just going to be I love watching them, and just their excitement and how they play is phenomenal. They're such a great group of kids to go out there, and they're so easy to cheer for. So out at Walden Ponds on Tuesday, I think our girls are in a good spot. I mean, Linda Taylor, a bunch of our girls have been starting to come around and score better and better as the year goes on. So I look forward to them keep improving and hopefully turn in some of their best scores of the year for sectionals this week. So I'm excited, and I'm going to be walking this time just for you. And I'll be thinking about you as I'm walking.
As the saying goes among the kids now, pictures or it didn't happen.
Okay.
So send a tweet out or two.
I will,
please.
for sure.
Okay. Thank you very much. Newt, let's move on. Let's talk about your football team. They close out the regular season on a very, very strong note, dispatching Milford 42-13. Jackson Kuhn, ho-hum, another 300 total yards, 5 total touchdowns, another day at the office for him. But it was nice to see get the running game going. He had almost 160 yards on the ground. But I also want to talk about, how about Mitch Dinkins? Couple picks on the defensive side of the ball. And we talked about that, that defense, and kind of been up and down all season long. You have good games and then you have off games. And now they come here and they hold Milford to 13 points and Mitch with a couple of picks there. Now you get a bye week heading into the playoffs as the number 6 seed. You'll take on the winner of Taze Valley and Briggs in a couple of weeks here. So how much of a boost does it give your team and give your defense in particular, knowing that they've got a week to sit on the fact that they played very, very well and can carry that into the second round of the playoffs?
Yeah. Well, first of all, they did. They played very well. And Mitch Dinkins, he's a great example of a typical kid here at Anderson High School. He's a senior that just works his tail end off. And it's so nice to see when those kids come through and get to reap the rewards of their hard efforts. But, kind of like what we talked about, again, our football team, our defense just kind of was giving up some big plays. And they didn't play terrible against Winton Woods. They just gave up some big plays, and they eliminated that. Yeah. Now, kind of what we talked about in soccer, what they needed in volleyball, what they need to do is they need to forget forget what happened and focus, because it's still possible. If sometimes you can read your press clippings a little bit too much. And I'm not a big fan of press clippings and statistics at all. I'm a big fan of results. And so what we can't do is we can't think, oh my gosh, we've arrived, we're back, and now we're here, and we don't have to work hard. Our coaches will definitely get after them this week. There's no doubt about it. But the ability is there, and when we eliminate that big play, our defense is outstanding, and they proved that on Friday night. And now the job is to go out there and prove it every Friday night, and which we've kind of been away from a little bit, but we got to make sure we get after it again, and we'll have a great week of practice this week, and next week, and we'll be ready to go. Our freshmen and Jays are going to play some games to keep them loose and keep them ready to go. So we'll be fired up and we'll be ready. Whoever we're playing, Tays Valley or Briggs, doesn't matter. We got to worry about ourselves to make sure we're in the best position to be successful.
Zach, I want to talk a little bit about your quarterback, Jackson Kuhn. And again, he had another really big game this past week against Milford. He won the league passing title this year, and this is his final go around. How has he been as a leader off the field for your team, and what is his expectation for his own play going into his high school swan song in the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, I can't sing his praises enough. I mean, and his parents, I mean, you just know that he's been raised the right way. He's an awesome kid. He's about all the right things. And what I love the most about him is he puts in the work. A lot of people, when they're leaders, they talk the talk, but they don't always walk the walk. And for me, one of the things I love about Jackson is I don't think he asks any of his teammates to do something that he doesn't do himself or hasn't done. So I think when you're one of the hardest workers, it's easier to be a leader, and it's easier for people to listen to you and to understand. And they take that message a little bit better than somebody who may be the most talented but doesn't work the hardest. So I mean, he's done a great job. I mean, all off season, he's in the weight room working his tail end off, and he's out there trying to get his receivers before all this COVID stuff hit. Trying to get his receivers out there, get timings down, and all that. And I couldn't be happier for a kid than him, than just to see everything that he's put in come out and starting to get some of the notoriety, I guess, that I really think that he deserves. And I'm excited to see what he's going to do in the playoffs and moving forward, because I think he's still got a lot left in there that people are going to be excited to see.
Yeah, I will say this, that Friday night, I've seen him, throw at the varsity level for 3 years now. And Friday night was the most zip I've seen him have on a ball. So I know he's feeling good. But I tell you what, he cut a couple loose Friday night, and that was great to see.
That's certainly a good way to head into the postseason there. Not only team getting where they want to be, but also your quarterback feeling good about where he wants. And of course, we all that's everything in football anymore, is how good your quarterback's feeling in the playoffs, and sound like he's good. But got to wait a week to see how he fares in his final run in the playoffs there. So nevertheless, a great week in Anderson High School. And guys, we certainly appreciate the time, and we'll look forward to do it again next week and brag on some more stuff that you did really well.
That our kids did really well.
Well, Zach will be walking this week. So Zach, can you send a shot of your Fitbit or something to let us know how many steps you get on the course or something?
I've gotten away from the Apple Watch just for that, because it used to just start vibrating and say you need to stand up. So I took that off just because of that.
Before we go here, is your fiance doing that, filling in the job for the Apple Watch?
Yeah, no. Just to be blatantly honest there with you.
Well, we'll make sure to send her a copy of this, and we'll see if we can get that.
Please don't put this online.
No, well, we'll cut that part out. Chris, Zach, great catching up with you. We'll do it again next week.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it,
guys.
That is Chris Newton and Zach McCormick joining us here for This Week in Anderson High School Sports here in ESP Media, powered by Sidearm Sports.